And welcome back to Backspace Academy. In this lecture, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Trusted Advisor service of AWS. Now, what that is, it is an online service that will audit your infrastructure against best practices across a number of different areas, being cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerance, and service limits. Now, make sure that you remember those because it may come up on the exam. Now, depending on what level of support you've got with AWS will determine how detailed the Trusted Advisor report will be. So this account here has enterprise level support from AWS. So it has all of the available recommendations from Trusted Advisor. But if you've just got a standard account, it'll have the majority of these will be grayed out, but you will have the essential ones there. So don't be too concerned if everything is not there and available for you. It just means that you haven't got that level of support from AWS. So looking at the first one here, we've got cost optimization. And so everything is with a green tick. So there's nothing for us to be concerned about, but I can click on that and have a bit of a closer look at it. So we can see there it's looking for idle DB instances or EC2 instances or any sort of instance that we're not using. We need to get rid of those and save the money. We can see there idle load balances, EC2 instances that are not utilized fully and they can go to a smaller EC2 instance, unassociated elastic IP addresses. So there's quite a bit of stuff there that it can recommend for us that can save us quite a bit of money. And not only that, is that we can actually expand these and it will tell us exactly where these resources are. So that can be quite difficult to track those down sometimes, but this will make life a lot easier for you. Trusted Advisor can also advise us on performance, how we can reduce the bottlenecks in our infrastructure, how we can reduce our cost with resource record sets in Amazon Route 53, how we can use CloudFront in front of our buckets to minimize our costs for delivery of that content. In security, there's also a lot of areas that we can look into. Right here, we've got everything in green, but we've also got two which are actually alerting us to a problem. So we can see down here, we don't have CloudTrail logging on any of the regions here. So that's something that we'd want to implement. We also have some security groups that have unrestricted access. So let's have a look at those. So I can see here when I've created a WordPress AMI or used the WordPress AMI for a lab, it's created a security group and by default, it's just had that open on port 22 for all IP. So we can now just click on that and it'll take us straight there where it is. So we can see there, here are these two security groups and they're being created for that WordPress AMI. So if we have a look at that and we can see there we've got SSH and we use SSH or Secure Shell to connect directly into the Linux operating system of an instance. And we can see there on port 22 it's open for everyone. So that's not desirable. It's not a major deal, but it is not desirable to have that. And so we can edit that and we can change that to our IP. So the only way of accessing over Secure Shell will be from our own IP address. Anything else outside of our IP address will not be allowed. But that said, you still need AWS credentials to actually get in anyway. But again, it's not a good practice and you should have that locked down as well. So what I'm going to do is just delete those. So they've gone now. So I can go back to Trusted Advisor. And if I refresh this one, that should no longer be a warning. Okay, so after a short amount of time, that warning or that alert for those security groups has now disappeared. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. So let's go to fault tolerance. And here we can see we've got two warnings there for S3 bucket logging and also for versioning on our bucket. So it's not a major deal, but it's something that it's recommending we should do. We should have versioning on a bucket. That's certainly a best practice. And finally, we've got service limits. So if we're exceeding our service limits, that's going to cause problems for us. If we're exceeding the number of instances that we should have, then we're going to have a problem when we go to launch instances. But you can see there, we've got no problems there, but it goes through a whole heap of different stuff there to make sure that you're not exceeding the service limits. For example, elastic IP address. So if you're getting close to that, then it'll warn you that there is a problem with that. So that's the Trusted Advisor service. So make sure that you go to it, and the way you get there is go to Services and Trusted Advisor, quite simply. And again, your Trusted Advisor won't be as complete as this one if you don't have enterprise support from AWS. But still, it's a good idea to go and have a look at it and just see how it all works. So that's it, and I'll see you in the next lab.